Allegedly Sean Diddy Combs.
You being a part of Bad Boy at one point, how do you feel about these lawsuits accusing Diddy of abuse? What do you think about that? You knowing Diddy, do you think he's capable of doing that, man?
It's in his character. That's who he is. That's what comes with power. That's what comes with arrogance. That's what comes with, what makes him.
Y'all, I swear, it's starting to look like we're never going to get through this Surviving Diddy series because more and more people are still coming out to speak on Diddy, and Brycer Gray just joined that list because word on the streets is that he is allegedly filing a $50 million lawsuit against Diddy and Will Smith for allegedly SAing him. But that's not all, because the streets are now saying that Diddy allegedly also SA'd rapper YK Osiris. And Chili, this drama just got more insane than you could ever imagine.
Cause y'all always talking about these rappers, always talking about and giving y'all all these stupid talks. Oh, this God bless it, what God wants you to do. No, this is not what God wants you to do. You go through all this shit. The devil give you all this money. Go through all this shit to destroy yourself.
Y'all, the Surviving Diddy era is in full swing, and we're starting to hear more and more revelations that have us shook to the core. Diddy has been getting hit with lawsuits left and right, and there were speculations that more people would come forward and expose him for doing some bad things to them. And it looks like those speculations were right, because actor Brycer Gray and rapper YK Osiris are coming out to expose Diddy for allegedly SAing them. And in the case of Brycer, he is claiming that Diddy and Will Smith allegedly forced him into freak-offs against his will. There were reports that this was going to happen because last week a blind item came out to reveal that multiple young men in the industry were going to start speaking up against Diddy.
Diddy is on his fourth lawsuit for abuse, assault, among other things, in the past recent weeks. And there have been blind items and rumors that he has abused and assaulted men as well. Here is a new blind item. I suspect the soon-to-step forward male victim of SA by this A-list mogul will not be the last man to do so. And again, this is allegedly Sean Diddy Combs.
For a hot minute now, people have been wondering what happened to Brycer and why he left the industry so suddenly. He had a great career on Empire, and there were high expectations that he was going to have a very successful career after leaving Empire and do great things. But that never happened because he just went poof from the industry, and we never really heard from him after the show ended. As it turns out, his disappearing act wasn't exactly voluntary, because the streets are saying that Brycer got blackballed from the industry by Will Smith and Diddy after he tried to get out of their freak-offs because he never wanted to do it to start with. But they were not about to let him go without consequences, and they got him canceled. In case you're wondering how he even got hooked up in this sort of stuff, let me break it down for you. When Brycer was only a teenager, he met Charlie Mack, a talent manager who helped Brycer get an invitation to audition for Empire. Brycer killed it at the audition and landed the role, so he moved to LA to star in the show. With Charlie being his manager, Charlie ended up being the perfect choice for Brycer as a manager because he had some insane connections in Hollywood. He had access to the movers and shakers in the industry, and he connected Brycer to some of the biggest names in the industry, including Will Smith. Will and Brycer hit it off immediately, which wasn't hard because Will was impressed with Brycer's performance on Empire. Will then became something of a role model to Brycer, and they formed a mentor relationship dynamic, which sounds pretty sweet on paper, right? I mean, which industry newbie wouldn't want to be mentored by one of the biggest names in the industry? For example, Alexis Arquette, who knew Will on a personal level, spilled the tea that Will's first marriage to Cherie Zampino ended because Cherie caught him in bed with a man. Alexis wrote, "When Jada comes out as gay and her beard husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked into him, servicing his sugar daddy Benny Medina, then I will listen to them. She being his first wife. Paid off? Silent." Alexis Arquette wasn't the only one who spoke on Will, because Jaguar Wright also came out to reveal that Will had affairs with multiple younger men in the industry. She claimed that he pretends to mentor the men, but then he allegedly forces them into a relationship that leaves them traumatized.
They're both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills. Bashir Gray. Left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
In a rant against Will's wife, Jada, Trisha Paytas called Will out for allegedly forcing her male dancers to sleep with him.
How about worrying about your cheating husband f***ing my male dancers, when they didn't want to? How about talk about that?
Also, do y'all remember the time when federal agents were looking into Diddy for allegedly doing some unspeakable things to younger men in the industry? Back in 2013, there were reports that Diddy was being investigated by federal agencies for sleeping with young guys. According to reports, during a debriefing session with federal investigators, James Roseman, the music manager turned cocaine kingpin, was reportedly questioned about the sexual preferences of entertainers, including whether Sean Diddy Combs was having intimate relationships with underage boys, according to a U.S. District Court filing. Then came Cassie's bombshell lawsuit, and that was the first time that we really got to hear about some of the things that Diddy had going on in private. And y'all, it was not a nice picture. Turns out, Diddy had a thing for male escorts, and Cassie spilled the tea about him dragging her into some seriously wild escapades with these escorts, which he referred to as freak-offs. She claimed that Diddy would hire the male escorts and force her to be intimate with them while he watched and got off on it. He would also direct the freak-offs, telling her what to do and how to do it. According to Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, Diddy was actively involved in the freak-offs himself. Gene claimed that Diddy gave Cassie a shopping list of things to look for in an escort because he was having her shop for an escort for his pleasures and not hers.
And she say that, in this lawsuit that, Diddy, he enjoyed watching her get smashed by BBCs. So, what you think about that?
Do you think she was the only one getting banged by him? Do you think this man had this woman search for the tubes online just for them to have sex with her?
And according to sources, Cassie wasn't the only one who Diddy had freakouts with, because he allegedly had freak-offs with Will as well. You see, for years, there have been rumors that Will and Diddy are on the DL and that they have been allegedly engaging in freak-offs for ages now. The rumors of Diddy and Will allegedly being gay partners have been going around for years now. But at first, people didn't buy it because we all assumed that Will was in a happy, long-term relationship with Jada, but then Jada came out to reveal that she and Will have actually been separated for a while now.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives. It was not a divorce on paper,
Right.
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
Yes.
y'all have been apart.
Yeah. Then we found out that Diddy was not the only man that Will had allegedly been doing the nasty with, because according to Will's former assistant and longtime friend, Bilal, Will also had a little something with actor Dwayne Martin. Bilal sat down with Tasha K and revealed how he had caught Will and Dwayne doing the deed in Dwayne's dressing room.
So 3 minutes later, after them telling me, hey, you got eyes on Will, we need him to come watch this. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, what? But I see his car there. I'm like, where's this guy at? So, all right, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having anal sex with Will.
Let me process that for a second.
There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing him. Murder. It was murder in there.
But as it turns out, whatever Will had with Dwayne was child's play compared to the full-on freak fiesta he had going on with Diddy. So let's dive into this whole Will Smith mentorship thing for Breisher, because it was kind of confusing. Like I said, Will was the one who linked Diddy and Breisher. But as it turned out, he allegedly introduced Breisher to Diddy, not only as a potential mentee, but also as a potential participant in their freak-offs. In Chile, the things that went on in the freak-offs were just insane, because it sounds like a nightmare in Cassie's lawsuit. According to the lawsuit, the first time Mr. Combs hired a man and brought the man to his home in Los Angeles, the man, Mr. Combs, and Ms. Ventura wore masquerade masks and ingested drugs. Mr. Combs directed Ms. Ventura to perform intimate acts with this man while Mr. Combs watched them. He got off to it while he directed Ms. Ventura and the man to do specific intimate acts. The entire encounter lasted multiple days. Mr. Combs began to call the arrangement a freak-off, or FO. He would repeatedly tell Ms. Ventura at random moments that he wanted an FO, and Ms. Ventura was eventually